Do I have more information? No. Do I need to beat 2020 mode for this? I'm assuming. I'm spawning on the floor in the random rooms. So I need within 30 seconds. It's two more. It's three more pages. I could 1 minute. So hours 1 to 5. So if I just go to the first hour and just do it multiple times, I should be able to get it, right? So 30 seconds. So I have up to 30 seconds to deal with Tealer. Okay, let's. Nope. Nope. And then. I don't know what they look like is the problem. Okay. Right there. Okay. Do I need a page for each night? Is that what I need? Let's go get the 2 more pages. So I'm assuming we'll test it, but I'm assuming it's only 1 page per night, right? Because if it's not, then what's stopping me from just doing this one over and over again until I get all pages? I wasn't gonna get all the pages, but I feel like I kind of have to now. Page. I'm assuming it's 1 per room. I'm assuming that's how it works. It must be 1 per hour. I guess that means I'm playing all the hours again. Okay, let's go to hour 2. Actually, I think hour 2 is where I got the first one, right? It was on the hard mode. It was spawned within 30 minutes to an hour. So, I mean, as long as I get Tealer, I should be fine. Because he's the only one... Oh. He's the only one that really is a problem. Everyone else I can just stare at. Okay. Well, let's go get Frillin. Come here, Frill. I guess Tealer is actually the easiest one to deal with because everyone else I have to actually do something. As long as I ignore Tealer, it seems fine. Hello. There's a new page. Oop. I'm missing 1 and then I'll read all the story. I'll read all the story. Because I'm curious to know, I want to know why we killed him, apparently. Oh, there it is. That was the last one. And we got it. Danny Corp was a company that owns the Tila brand. It was founded by David and Arto and Teal Artel in 1973. The discussion behind the name of the company remains unknown. David had newfound interest in robotics and engineering and decided to put it to use for entertainment purposes. But Teal's plans for the company were different. He ultimately agreed to go with this direction. Tealerland is not Zanny Corp's first endeavor into entertainment business. Their first locations consisted of small several small cafes with only one basic animatronic. Throughout the company's life, all Zanicorp locations were located in a small number of states within the U.S. Despite the basic nature of these locations, they proved very popular. As the interest grew and the new trend and income grew, the brothers' plans grew more ambitious and more advanced. In 1990, their latest project, the Tealerland theme park, would finish its construction. The robot entertainers were now more advanced, with each character having modular exoskeleton parts. Changing modules granted the possibility of different personalities, different routines, and radio control. Unfortunately, this module system would be exploited not long after. After Zanicorp gained enough employees for its new establishment, Tealerland had its grand opening. In the first few days were very successful for the company. Tealerland was looking to be Zanicorp's most profitable location yet. Even with all that, Teal looked unhappy with how the animatronic mascots look. He was responsible for creating the character designs for each one, while David was asked turning them into reality, making the suits and underlying technology for each character. Teal desired more realistic-looking characters. David felt like he had done what he was all able to do. David had spent many sleepless nights before the construction of Tealerland was completed, constructing and trying to perfect each mascot. It was not his interest to replicate the original designs perfectly. His interest was to design animatronics that could be easily repaired, easily maintained, easily upgraded, or changed. Teal pushed for the animatronics to be changed, but it was a fruitless effort. This would be the first of the brothers' debates. For almost a year, the interest in the amusement park took a very heavy dip. Funds were getting lower, and the effects of that were showing. Branching out to more locations was not an option with the budget the company had. Employees had to be laid off, and maintenance was becoming nearly non-existent. While David nearly knew or cared to find out the reason for the interest waning, Teal had already assigned the blame to the mascots, those same ones he was unhappy with, upon the park's opening. Teal believed the characters looked too creepy and unnerving to its customers, especially after the time it had taken its toll. The suits were made out of very fragile materials and started to melt and sag, especially near their faces. Teal had decided it was time to take matters in his own hands. Without David knowing, he tampered with the animatronics. Teal helped to gain an understanding of the inner mechanics of each character to potentially design his own suits. This plan failed, as Teal accidentally damaged both the suits and the underlying exoskeleton. He had hoped that things would continue to operate as normal regardless, but he would be wrong. After the failed disassembly of the animatronics, the operation took a heavy hit. What little staff there was at the location was becoming annoyed with how often the animatronics would lock up and break. David knew of this, but he did not say anything, as he did not know who was responsible for ruining his creations that he spent so much effort and time on. Already frustrated with the parts decline and the interest, he just wanted to track down who was at blame for the situation at hand. Shortly after these events took place, David went to the underground facility built underneath the park to try and get a better understanding of what happened. He did not expect to find a lifeless body of an employee laying on the ground. David was the first to find it, and no one else had come down yet. Nothing else had been near the body except for Tealer, who was in the middle of being repaired. The deceased employee had a large cut within the center of his chest. There was no screams or calls for help heard beforehand. Not wanting the public to find out what had just happened, David hid the body within Tealer's torso. God damn it, David! David then sealed away the now tainted facility, leaving Tealer and the body within. No one was ever allowed beneath again. With the closure facility, the park was deemed out of order for the few months. The reason why was never publicly disclosed. After much debate between Teal and David about whether or not it was worth it or not to continue with the project, Zanicorp finally closed its doors for good, along with its Tealerland Park. David wanted the public to just forget about the park's existence rather than have it live in infamy. He never told Tealer, as its money was already running dry anyway, providing enough of a reason to move on. The Ariel brothers had parted their ways. Both moved on to greater things. Zanicorp was sold to an unknown buyer shortly after. The Tealer Park, however, remained untouched and abandoned for the next decade of its existence. While he still had a chance, Teal breached the park and went into the hidden facility in secret. It was then that Teal found the slowly decaying corpse of an employee within Tealer's suit. Teal decided David's cover-up could not go unnoticed any longer. Teal had scavenged parts and blueprints from what left underneath and built his own modules to take control over his brother's creations using radio signals. It's 2000. David wakes up to a phone call. The bait had worked. The monster was driven back to its home. Okay, so David doesn't seem like a great person. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he actually he didn't kill the person. It seems like that was actually Tealer malfunctioning killed the person. But he also didn't do anything. Oh, because I read them all. Okay. A traitor, a man with no guilt, and a man with no regret. David was creator of the animatronics that would eventually get hijacked by his own brother and sent out to attack him, and he's the co-founder of Xenicorp. When he arrived at the facility, he bought an old Tealer mask along in hopes that the animatronics would mistake him for one of their own. It was a futile attempt. The more he spent in the underground facility, and the more his creations tried to kill him, the more his state of mind began to suffer. He would be ultimately be the one responsible for the death of Teal Artel. After the final events that happened in the park, David was caught and arrested. He now suffers silently within the confines of his prison cell indefinitely. Interesting. So I think this is one of the only games where we play the bad guy. Like I can't think of any other FNAF fan games where we play as the bad guy. That's interesting. Okay. Well, that is officially everything from Tealerland. I'm not doing the custom night. I honestly don't think I can do it. It's gonna be insane. It's hard mode off. Use unlocker. Yeah, I don't know if I can do this. Especially with these two. Some new people I don't know. But yeah, that is everything in Tealerland except for the 2020 mode. Very good game. I think I said that before in the final finale, but a very good game. You should definitely go and try it. Yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.